Have you ever sat at your desk surrounded by code thinking, what am I even doing here? Everyone's going to figure out I'm a fraud any minute now. Well, I've been there yesterday. That feeling has a name, Imposter Syndrome, and honestly, it's been my constant companion throughout my tech career. I'm Piotr, and today I want to share my personal journey with these feelings, along with some interesting stuff that I've discovered while trying to understand why my brain keeps telling me I don't belong here. I definitely don't have all the answers. It's just my story of navigating those moments of self-doubt that seem to show up. Spoiler alert, right when I'm actually growing the most. Whether you're just starting out or you've been in tech for years, I hope my experiences might resonate with you. When I first started struggling with these feelings, I had no idea there was a name for them. So I started digging into what was happening in my brain and well, I found something interesting. Turns out that what I was experiencing has been studied since late 1970s. When I looked into the research, I discovered that the term imposter phenomenon was first introduced in 1978 by two psychologists. They described it as an internal experience of intellectual phoniness in people who believe that they are not intelligent, capable, or creative despite evidence of high achievement. Reading that was like someone had been inside my head. Well, minus the convoluted words. It's that feeling that somehow I've just been lucky, or that I've managed to trick everyone into thinking that I know what I'm doing. And it's just a matter of time before someone figures out I'm a fraud. What really surprised me was when I stumbled across a study from 2020. They found that about 57% of computer science students experience these same feelings, and that number jumps to 71% among women in the field. When I read that, I thought, wait, I knew I'm not the only one feeling this way, but those percentages are high. It was honestly a bit comforting to know that these feelings are actually super common. I've also got across descriptions from people who've studied this phenomenon, who describes it as feeling like an actual fraud with a deep sense of personal incompetence that persists despite external evidence of success. Again, quite worldly. And yeah, that described exactly how I felt so many times throughout my career. And I first noticed these feelings when I landed a job as a junior developer, while I was still studying. Trying to balance work and school felt like attempting to organize my digital life with a single desktop folder named Stuff. The more I learned on the job, the more I realized how much I didn't know. Every new task made me wonder if I was in over my head. I'd look around my coworkers and think, do they all know I have no idea what I'm doing? One thing that really amplified these feelings for me was how quickly everything changes in tech. Just when I thought I had a decent handle on React class components, function components. And I was back to square one. I remember when Next.js introduced a completely new routing approach and I just wrapped my head around the old way of doing stuff. It felt exactly like shopping in a grocery store that rearranges the aisles every week. You go in, looking for bread, and suddenly it's not where you left it last time. I was constantly scrambling to adapt while still trying to deliver good work, and with each new technology shift, those imposter feelings would come flooding back. Here's something interesting I noticed along the way. These imposter feelings seem to show up most intensely when I was actually learning and growing. It was like a little flag saying, hey, you're in a new territory now. While researching this pattern, I found a paper from 2011 that mentioned imposter feelings are most likely to occur when a person is facing a new role or challenge. This clicked for me. I mean, of course, I feel uncertain when I'm doing something new. My brain is literally trying to protect me by being cautious in unfamiliar territory. Understanding this helped me reframe those feelings, not as proof that I didn't belong, but as evidence that I was actually pushing myself to grow. So when I moved into leadership positions, first as a tech lead and later as head of engineering, well, I thought I needed to have all the answers. I felt this overwhelming pressure to be the person who knew everything, and whenever I didn't, those imposter feelings would intensify. But here's what happened. During one-on-ones with my team, I started to share some of my own uncertainties, not in a way that would undermine my role, but just honestly acknowledging that I was figuring things out too. To my surprise, this openness actually seemed to help my team. People started sharing their own doubts and challenges, and We realized that none of us had everything figured out. It was like we were all lost in that ever-changing grocery store together, and we could help each other find our way. These feelings can definitely be uncomfortable, but I've started to see them differently. For me, imposter syndrome has become a kind of checkpoint that shows up when I'm growing. In surfing, the waves are always changing. No two waves are exactly the same, and I constantly have to adjust and learn from every fall. I'll never fully master the ocean, but I do get better at reading it. Tech feels very similar. I'll never know everything, but with each challenge I get a little better at riding the wave. And somehow, this makes learning the next thing just a bit easier. Even though I never had a formal mentor, I found that honest conversations with colleagues and friends in tech were incredibly valuable. We'd talk about our struggles and often end up laughing about how lost we all felt sometimes. These chats showed me that there's real power in community, even if it's just informal coffee meeting. Imposter syndrome isn't some personal defect. It's something nearly everyone in tech experiences at some point. Look, I haven't beaten imposter syndrome, and honestly I don't expect to, or I don't even mean to. It still shows up whenever I'm stretching myself or trying something new. And I've made peace with that. By recognizing those feelings as part of my growth process, I can use them as a signal to reflect on how far I've come. Through maintaining my curiosity, leaning on community, and by allowing myself to admit when I don't know something, I keep moving forward. And it's through sharing our experiences that we help each other grow. No one has all the answers, and that's perfectly okay. I'd love to hear about your experiences with imposter syndrome. Has it showed up in your tech journey? Do you consider it a friend or maybe an enemy? Drop a comment below with your thoughts and your stories. And if you found this helpful or insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more honest conversations about life in tech. So to wrap up, in my opinion, feeling like an imposter doesn't mean you don't belong. In my experience, it often means you're growing in exactly the right direction.